Hi, this is an important message about offshore banking, and it's directed towards those who aren't Americans, which will become clear later. Before going into what I want to say, I'll just mention, of course, that offshore banking simply means banking with a financial institution in another country, offshore to your own country. And why would you do that? Now, in the past, of course, offshore banks have been associated with hiding your money, evading your taxes, any number of nefarious things associated with it. But these days, there's a more significant reason which applies to ordinary people, and therefore it makes offshore banking something which people who would never normally consider it should be considering it. And I'll just mention one reason why you should be considering it. If you can recall recently what happened in Cyprus, where the country was in trouble, banks were in trouble, and the legislature decided to follow a EU directive, and that was to raid the bank accounts of people who had €100,000 or more. And I think this was in the range of 60% raid. Now imagine waking up one morning to find that your bank account had been raided. It's effectively a bank robbery, with no say, no recourse. Just find out that what you had in there has now had a severe haircut. And this wasn't just Cypriots. Of course, a lot of people there, including people from the UK who retire, who'd moved their money there and were thinking they were living a good life in their retirement, to find that their retirement savings suddenly more than halved. So I see the main purpose in having an offshore bank account in this modern age, which applies to anybody who's got savings, is to look at it as a form of insurance against something similar happening in your own country. Now, if your money is in another country, not your own country, then of course that money is not affected by whatever your government decides to do if you've got it somewhere else. So that's the main justification. Now, what I want to talk about today specifically, and unfortunately only for non-Americans, is a very unique offshore banking opportunity which offers a very significant number of benefits and some unusual features. For example, this bank does not lend out its funds. It doesn't involve itself in fractional reserve banking. So therefore, the money that's on deposit stays on deposit. You might ask, how does the bank make money? They make it because it's involved and a subsidiary of an investment company, and they have investment products which, if people take part in, of course, they make money from that. What makes this bank unusual is that, it's in a jurisdiction which recognises a high level of financial privacy. It's more of a boutique bank, but it offers some innovative products. For example, you can buy gold through this bank. You can get a debit card denominated in gold. You can operate your own brokerage, self-drive. You can get access to managed funds. There's a lot of great benefits to this bank, and what's important also is it's not something that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. You can open an account with as little as 500 US, and at that level there's a $50 account opening fee, but if you were to open it with 5,000 or more, there's no account opening fee, and more significantly, there's no monthly account operating fee. Now this is a big thing, because I can assure you that in many offshore banks, including one that I'm involved in, where I'm paying $25 a month just to keep the account going. So having a bank account which gives you access to a wide range of services, which is not costing you money on a monthly basis, I think is a big plus. Of course, you can operate this account in all the usual ways, using internet banking. There's debit cards, very good customer service, very responsive, easy to open. Basically, you register online, your account is activated immediately, it's been approved, and then it's available for funding, but until you provide the documents, which is usually the same as most banks, which is proof of ID, and of course proof of residential address. And you do that by way of certified documents, which you can send in after you've got the account running. And once you've done that, the account is available for full facilities and full service. Now, at this, while I'm recording this video, you will see on the screen a little graphic come up which will allow you to click on it, and that will take you directly to the bank's website, where you can read up all the details, contact the bank if you have questions, and you'll be able to very simply open an account. Now, finishing up, why not Americans? And I wish I could say it was for Americans, but unfortunately I can't. This is something which is increasingly happening with regard to American residents and citizens, because remember that Americans are taxed on the basis of residency and citizenship. So it doesn't really matter where you live in the world. If you're an American with an American passport, you have obligations to file tax returns. One of the things the United States is doing, it's imposing a lot of obligations, reporting obligations, on banks overseas that have American clients. And some banks are finding this onerous. In fact, many banks are finding it too onerous to be bothered. And their simple solution is not to accept American account holders. This relieves them of the responsibility of dealing with the American government, and I can't really blame them for that. However, if you're an American and you're watching this and you're saying, well, hey, what about me? You'll also find on this page a link to my banking reports, which don't just talk about one bank, but make reference to a number of offshore banks which you may want to look at, including banks that do still accept Americans. So you're not completely left out. But unfortunately, for this particular bank, which I'm talking about here, it is something for non-Americans anywhere else in the world. So anyway, if this interests you, you want to learn more, watch out for the link at the end of this video, which will allow you to click on it and take you directly to the bank. Okay, thanks for listening.